Oh, I'm late. Hold on, folks. I was walking the dog. Check. Late night live streams, ladies and gentlemen. On the 3s, 2s, 1s, do we have... Hey, there we are. Oh, I got the wrong headphones on. Oh my gosh. Don't see me. Don't see DJ Dave. All right. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I got some cleaning up to do here. Good to see everybody. We just watched the West Coast episode of Bachelorette. We've got some good previews. I mean, we thought it was going to be a no problematic behavior season, right? But these guys are proving us otherwise. All right. Give me a second here. Hello, everyone. Erica Pauli says, how's Boone? He's doing good. Walking the dog. Likely story. You guys don't believe I was walking the dog? Well, I was letting him outside. I mean, at night, I don't walk him. I just let him in the backyard. He does his business. All right, everybody. Boy, we got some comments already coming in. Hello, everyone. Lauren S. says, Dave, how are you? Good to see you. Trying to make sure I've got my preview chat lined up. Give me a second to work out the details here. That needs to go up there. All righty. What'd you guys think? Bruce says we have seen 4 episodes so far. My money is on Jurgen and his German baking precision. You like the if you can bake for a lady, you got a good chance at success here. Yes, Sophia says, here we go for round 3. Who thought it would be a good idea to just do nonstop Bachelor content? Can you do me a favor? Wait 8 seconds. I got to shut the door. Hold on 1 second. Sometimes the dog will let himself into the room, but he's never good at closing the door behind him. Boy, my hair really is getting long. What do you guys recommend? Do we get a haircut or what? Do we get a haircut or we just go for ponytail? Do you guys want to see man bun Dave? Is that what we want? Turn some other lights on there. Linen shirt Dave is now cardigan Dave. Not yet. Just t-shirt Dave. That's what I am here. Tina's checking in from Slovakia. Good to see you. Good to see you, Tina. We've been asking about you. We've been wondering. Sarai's in the house. Hello. Adrian says, I'm watching The Bachelorette right now. Well, hello. Welcome. Lauren watched on East Coast time, but she's still awake. Well, thank you for staying up with us. I've got some new sound from last episode. We had a voicemail that started off this way.
Oh my God.
So it's on the sound bar now.
Be careful who you bang.
Oh my God.
Be careful who you bang.
Oh my God.
Oh, right there it is, folks. Sarai says, OMG, I forgot about the throwing the jacket in the pool in my voicemail. Yeah, I mean, wasn't that crazy is that I made the thumbnail originally, the jacket being thrown in the pool, and then once Jamie started talking, I was like, all right, we got to make a new thumbnail. Bruce says, can't believe no one told Michelle that Peter threw the jacket in the pool. I know, crazy, right? I mean, you think that she would, you think they would tell her, but like I said on the last live stream, it just goes to show that Will, he was a good guy. Rather than bring her mood down, he took that one, kind of realized that it wasn't going to help him out with Michelle anyway. Just going to show this other guy's true colors, and then they moved on. I did read, let me see if this is updated. I did share with you guys this, and this is, let me try to reframe this here. This is Jamie, the villain, who was just voted out. Why isn't this looking right? Let me see what that's doing. Looks kind of small, doesn't it? Hold on a second. You'd think I could figure this out by now, but I can't. So here, that'll do. Here's the graphic from Jamie. This is his apology. People that were looking for something to be angry about or towards found it. I'm unfazed. They'll be on to their next trigger, next episode, and next season. I know very little about the show and Bachelor Nation, but it seems pretty clear this is the pattern for some of them. Everything is the same for me. Much love and respect, and I extend that to everyone. May you find a way to treat the situations and people you don't like with grace. I guess the question is does he feel like he was graceful in the way he ended his season? Does he feel like he was graceful in the way he basically created a story out of nothing? And he did that because he wanted to see if Michelle was into him or not. So let's see if there's anything else that he's included. It looks like he deleted that last comment. Unless it's from earlier. Let me go back and see if it's from earlier. No, it's still there. All right, so his comment is still there, and now he posted. So he's been on Instagram all night for a guy that doesn't really care. We have included producer footage. Jamie is getting the villain edit. He says, I'm a real villain. Well, you're not lying there. No wonder you're... Oh, boy. See, this is where it becomes tough when people leave comments like that. Yikes. People are, it just goes to show that hurt people are out there, not only on the show, but in the comment section. Boy, do we know that. So tomorrow, I'm going to have tons of content coming your way. The first video I'll have up is the recap, which I'm about to film after this. So this live stream may be on the shorter side. We'll have to see what the jams are all. We'll have to see what we're feeling. I'm still kind of jet lagged coming back from the East Coast. Hey, thanks for all the nice hair comments. I appreciate that. Joe Sheeny says, Jamie is ridiculous with what he was saying to producers. I agree. Sunshine says, does the chlorine ruin jackets? I mean, it doesn't help. Kate C has said, have you had long hair previously? Yeah, go to my Instagram at DNils. You see Ponytail Dave. It could come back at any time. All right. If anyone wants to call in, we have a voicemail number, 401-213-9828. There it is, 401-213-9828. You can call in, leave a voicemail. We'll start getting to those voicemails. Let's see if we have anything in the pipeline here. And it looks like we've got Kim. I think she's our first one. Oh, no, I already got Kim. So let's go to Ellen. She called at 9 o'clock. So let's hear Ellen. Let's see what you know what I need to do is I need to turn off the sound here. And then we'll go. Or you know what I can do is make it very quiet. If I make this sound very quiet, let's see if that's quiet enough. And I'll play the voicemail. Get some nice moods.
Hi, this is Ellen calling from Atlanta, Georgia. I am so happy to see that Jamie dude go. He was very manipulative. And I think a bunch of really good guys are left. I think she's got some good potential, and I just wish the producers and I wish the girls wouldn't have meddled with people in the beginning, and I don't see why the show manipulates so much. I think they should let things roll, but looking good. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks so much for the call. Yeah, I mean, the show's going to do what the show's going to do, and then it's up to us to decide what we believe from the show, So some people said, hey, you got to give Jamie some grace here because he wasn't as bad as they made him out to be. And you go, well, I mean, I'd like to hear from other guys on the season. Are they all friends with Jamie? It's almost like when people were distancing themselves from Yosef, it was like, Yosef's clearly one of a kind. When the guys were like, I don't want anything near this guy. Whereas other people that have been villains in the past, people still maintain their friendships with them. We just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see actions moving forward, I guess.
Hey Dave, it's Sarai. I just finished watching the episode. Oh my God, I'm so glad to see Jamie gone. But of course, when one snake leaves, another snake enters. So of course, what is the Bachelorette without another snake in the grass? This is what they are known for. But the way that Jamie just pulled the producer aside and then badmouthed against Michelle, and then of course he's going to talk badly about the guys. But oh my God, what a two-faced guy. That couldn't have been edited. That had to have been oh my God. I don't know what else to say about that. And Rodney, what a nice guy. Such a nice guy. What she put him through? Oh God. Yeah, he definitely should have gotten the rose no matter what. But yeah, one episode. So it's gonna be, I'm just glad Jamie's gone, but then again, there's always another person coming up. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the chat soon, and yeah, all right, bye.
Sarai, ladies and gentlemen. And then we've got Abby Thomason checking in. Says, I couldn't stand Jamie for some reason from the second he stepped out of the limo, just something in his energy. Good to see you, Abby Thomason. How are things going with you? Dressed up as Theranos, am I pronouncing that right? For Halloween. Always good to see all of your Halloween costumes out there. Love it. For Halloween, I dressed up as hungover, as I told you guys. I played the part very well. Actually, I wasn't really hungover after the Saturday night wedding. I was hungover Saturday morning after the rehearsal dinner. That's kind of nice. You get all like your drunkenness out at the rehearsal dinner, and then at the wedding, you can just kind of like coast on a couple Michelob Ultras or whatever the kids are drinking these days. All right, moving along. So if anyone wants to leave a voicemail, do I sound low energy? I watched the show at 5. I did a live stream. Kind of been busy. Maybe it's the jet lag. I'm not really sure. But still trying to work through. I only made a couple videos today, but I had to do someone's podcast and I did all these other things. So it felt like a busier day than it actually was, but we love to make content, though. We love to talk. Trying to read all your comments, and it's hard to do that and talk at the same time. So let's see what else we can pull up here as far as the show goes. Do me a favor. Let me know what you guys think. You can leave a voicemail at 401-213-9828. And I'm going to have to take this right back to the top of the list here. Erica said, I had another weird love-related thing happen during the show. I saw a girl I know's boyfriend on Tinder. Had to DM her and let her know. Feel bad for her. Now, Erica, the question is, did you swipe right on the guy? Because if you did and he swiped right on you, then you could maybe do a sting operations. Annie Banana says, on Chatty Broads, Becca predicted that Chris S., guy who wore shorts on school bus, was going to be a villain based on how he was edited. I think she may have been right. Yeah, I mean, judging by the previews for next episode that we just saw, it looks like that he's involved with Nate, but that Nate does a thing where he touches him and he's like, don't touch me, bro. And I'm on the side of not touching somebody else when you're trying to confront them, because we all act kind of weird when it comes to being touched, right, folks? I don't know. All right, let's see what else we have happening here. Some nice background music, keeping it nice and smooth. Nicole says, completely missed the episode of watching the Braves win the World Series. Need the recap. Go Braves. Congratulations, Atlanta. I watched the final couple outs. You'll get the recap tomorrow. But the quick, Nicole, the quick too long didn't watch version is Jamie. The boys finally figured out that Jamie was lying to everyone. And he just lied through his teeth completely to the end when she kicked him out before the rose ceremony. Now, Peter Doughboy, the pizza guy, he got in a tiff with Will. They had to do some event where they swung around upside down in a G-Force simulator. G-Spot Finder, they were in the G-Spot Finder, spinning around trying to find that G-Spot. And Will apparently ripped off something that Peter had said, but he said it in Spanish, and then Peter got mad at him. So Will won that tournament. I know this doesn't make sense to anyone. I'm the worst at explaining this. Will won that little tournament and received a bomber jacket. And Peter got mad at Will, took his jacket and threw it in the pool. Will never told Michelle because Michelle was having a good day and Will didn't want Michelle to feel bad about it. Peter ended up getting kicked off regardless. And I think that catches us up. Plus, Rodney had a good one-on-one date where he just ran around naked, and it was great. Annie Banana says, Jamie is such an icky gaslighter who didn't expect to be called out and then talked in circles. I loved how he thought he had convinced Michelle to be okay with his explanation in front of the guys. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a guy that's just probably lied his way through anything in life. See what else we got going on. Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense, but Rodney's like a type of guy, maybe he didn't look like the first guy that would be super, maybe, the most chiseled or charismatic or tall. He's just a good guy. He's the type of guy that, shakes what his mother gave him, and he's got a ton of boatload of personality, and that'll get you far in life if you're a good human. Leah says, do we think that anyone will bring up the Peter stuff next episode? It was so sad to see Will try and get his prize-winning jacket out of the pool. Honestly, I don't think so. I think the Peter stuff is buried. It was kind of like one of those sad, funny visuals when he's fishing it out, but I don't think it'll go any farther now that he's gone. Just Me Madison said, I wonder if the producers will replace the jacket for Will. I'm sure they got it dried. It's just a jacket. But either way, it's a point. It's a point that he had to go. Because then Will had to go fish it out, and it's like, Will didn't do it, and it wasn't it's just senseless. It was just senseless. It was senseless. Nicole says, "Did Clayton get more than 5 seconds of screen time?" No, he got it. Let me tabulate. He's at 4 seconds. He when Peter threw the jacket, and Clayton found out, he confronted Peter and was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He had a good moment there where he was like trying to fight the good fight. It looks like Clayton also had a nice little, not a one-on-one date, but they had one-on-one moments. So they had a couple things going on. All right, next voicemail.
Hi, Dave. This is Cheryl from Anchorage, Alaska. Jamie is a psychopath. Pure and simple. He lies, and then he lies again, and he can't remember what he says. He couldn't remember his little story about seeing Michelle with the light-skinned baller, and that the fact that he had said that she was all booed up, and he kept telling these different stories. He's a psychopath. Pure and simple. End of story. Bye.
Anchorage, Alaska, thank you so much for the phone call from Cheryl. Much appreciated. Psychopath is one of those terms we throw around so flippantly, like, oh, my ex was such a psycho. But they do exist in society. So it is important, if you're going to look at a psychopath, to wonder if one actually is. The difference between sociopathy and psychopathy. A brief primer on confusing terminology. The terms psychopath and sociopath are often used interchangeably, which causes much semantic confusion as there are differences each term. It is important to understand that the 5th edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which is one of my favorite reads, formally classifies both psychopathy and sociopathy, am I pronouncing that right, as antisocial personality disorders. Those terms are used by the lay public far more than is the ASPD designation. All right, let's go over the few. So, traits of a sociopath. Sociopaths are characterized by volatile behavioral patterns. These individuals often demonstrate emotional outbursts and a lack of self-control. Sociopaths can form attachments to other individuals and in general enjoy being around other people, although they have no regard for rules put in place by society. Am I a sociopath? I hate rules. For individuals already genetically vulnerable to these behaviors, sociopathy is set in motion by specific environmental factors such as troubled childhood, traumatic interpersonal relationships, or a history of abuse. No, I haven't been abused. I've been a pretty lucky guy. Maybe I'm like a sociopath light. Traits of a psychopath. Don't ask. No. In contrast to sociopathy, psychopathic behaviors result more from genetics or congenital injuries, such as a head injury at birth, more than from environmental factors. Psychopaths are extremely manipulative and can easily gain others' trust. However, they do not form attachments to others. Individuals with psychopathic traits lack empathy and therefore feel no remorse when causing harm to another individual. Their actions are often pre-planned, and the crimes they commit are often highly organized and meticulous. Psychopaths are usually deemed more dangerous than sociopaths because they show no remorse for their actions due to their lack of empathy. Both of these character types are portrayed in individuals who meet the criteria for antisocial personality disorder. Well, there we go, folks. There you have it. Franny says, don't get me started on that. Of course, our resident psychologist. Sorry, Franny, I'm going to get you started. Brianna Mills says, you'll see sociopaths abuse animals in their early childhood. I thought it was psychopaths that would abuse their animals. Annie Banana says, geez, that sounds like Jamie to a T. I mean, look, whether he's a psychopath or not, well, I really don't know. We can't, the show's edited. But boy, does he not look apologetic here. Let me go through, we shared these comments earlier. Nicole says, is Jamie chaotic neutral or neutral evil? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. But he shared all the hate he was getting. And he goes, and it begins, laugh, laugh, laugh. He was at a watch party, and then he says basically, I know very little about the show, but it's clear this pattern is, he's basically saying the show's the toxic one, not me. That's essentially what he's saying there. And then, of course, he shared some hate that he was getting and some other stuff. He says, I'm a real villain. And then, of course, not much else to share there. We already shared all that. Franny says, both do abuse animals. Jamie has such a dumb smile the whole show. I wouldn't say he is psycho, just a dumb A. I mean, that could be possible too. GJ says, Rodney totally won me over this episode. I love how Will chose to put Michelle's happiness above his own hurt emotions after Peter dissed him. Yeah, what I was doing before is I gave Rodney a like. So if you enjoy any of these contestants, the one thing you can do is just give them a like on Instagram. I mean, it doesn't, it helps their cause. Holiday toy drive. We're going to be doing one of our own. So I'm not going to, but good for them for doing their own. What do we got here?
Judge Rodney right now, and I really, really like him. I think I'm a good judge of character, and he just seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, I really like Rodney too. He seems great.
There it is, folks. They love Rodney. Don't we all? This date, hashtag the Bachelorette. There he is right there. They have fun. Michelle's got such a fun-loving personality. She loves the art of, I don't know, the banter. Michelle loves when he was talking about the apples, she was giving him apples, but like didn't know, he didn't know something about it. So she was kind of playfully making fun of him. And then she snuck in a kiss while he was blindfolded. They're good, maybe it's in the friend zone, but it seems still flirty and fun to me. Definitely love Rodney. What else do we got here? Let's see what you guys think. Hey, we're at 100 people in the chat. Pretty light night. I guess it's because maybe it's that time of the season. We just don't have too much going on. Maybe it's Tuesday night. Who really knows? Franny says, the show does not give enough info for a diagnosis. These terms are used loosely. Of course, you're absolutely right. We can only see what we see. And, if they shoot for a whole week and we get to see one scene where a guy's exhausted and he calls out the other dudes because he thinks he's better than them, not exactly psychopathic behavior. But then again, he started a lie to mischaracterize Michelle and tried to make it seem like he was doing her a favor. So at the very least, he tried to play a white knight. Erica says, I'm still mad Rodney doesn't know his apples. That's a deal breaker. Maybe it's a socioeconomic thing. I don't really know my apples either. Like, what's the difference between a jazz apple and a gala apple? I don't know the difference. All right. Gianna says, been liking Michelle. I think she's doing great so far. Thank you so much for the comment, Gianna. I totally agree. Susan says, if Rodney doesn't end with Michelle, this episode was great publicity in the love department for Rodney. Yeah, Rodney would be great. Could he carry a Bachelor season? I don't see why not. We don't really know. But by all means, the guy's showing enthusiasm, charm, and humor, and playful. And you know what he's got? They always say, the keys are, what is it? What's competence? Is it competence and intelligence? Is that what it is? I always mess this up. Either way, he's got charm, and he comes off very much like not aggressive. And I mean that in a good way. Like he's very disarming. He's a big guy, but he's very disarming. He's like, playful, shows up in an apple costume, willing to be the butt of a joke. I'm sure he's got a good core group of guy friends that really enjoy him. Megan says, has Jamie said anything publicly yet? I just shared it. He said something on his Instagram, essentially saying, "Yeah, you guys do you, but I'm gonna do me." Like he's like basically saying, "Peace out, Bachelor Nation." Brianna says, I vote Mondays too. Well, the show will be back. The Bachelor will be back Mondays, the first Monday after New Year's. I believe that is January 3rd. No worries, Megan. No worries. I'll share it again in a few minutes. It's just kind of, it's boring. I'm giving him a lot of airtime. And he says, how how bizarre was Jamie's story that he told to avoid being vulnerable? That word is so overused this season. Yeah, you know what? There's so many problematic things this episode. We forget about the poetry. Because some of that poetry was fire. Some of that poetry was really good. You guys know me, Slam Poet Dave. I don't really do it too much anymore because I make too much content to be bogged down by my poetic genius. But back in the day, your boy spit a few bars at the end of my recaps. And it was good. But yeah, Jamie didn't have the wherewithal to share poetry. He thought he would. Whether it's his own resistance, he says he lost his notebook. I mean, if they're on a closed set, how do you lose your notebook? You don't need to lose your notebook. These guys took it seriously, and he didn't. And I don't know what he's masking for, and insecurity or whatnot, but clearly there's more to the story there. Yeah, first time I noticed any of Clayton's charm was when Michelle called his name for the rose, that smile. Jamie is chaotic since he keeps saying he doesn't know the show or how it works. Yeah, I mean, he knew enough to know when he was talking into a microphone. Let's see what we got for voicemails. Looks like we got another one lined up. Do me a favor, call the voicemail line 401-213-9828. Probably going to make this on the shorter side, guys. I don't mean to mail it in. Like I said, flew back from Kentucky yesterday and still trying to get a good night's sleep, still trying to recover and getting sleep is something I'm trying to do so I don't, get any sicknesses or anything like that. Trying to get my 6.5 hours if I can. Let's play this next voicemail here. Katie.
Hey, Dave. It's Julia from San Diego. It's been a while since I left a voicemail.
Hey, welcome back.
But I just wanted to add my 2 cents. First off, I've been loving Michelle's season so far.
Yes.
The typical drama is there, but I feel like Michelle's personality really shines through it all. And as someone who has watched this show religiously for decades, I have to say that Michelle is hands down the best Bachelorette I've seen. I think chat can agree with me on this one. It also helps that she's got a great group of guys. I know Nate is a fan favorite, and he's one of my front runners too, but Casey is being slept on. He's one of the older guys. I think he's in his mid-30s, but his maturity really stands out to me. I'm just really happy with this season, and Michelle, she's everything that I thought she would be and more. Still waiting on ABC to tell me why Clayton deserved that Bachelor role, though. But yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.
By Julia from Santiago. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate having you back. And then someone said they just drove from the East Coast. Megan says, I wanted to say I have spent the past few weeks making my move from North Carolina to California, and I've been catching up on your content. Thanks for doing the Lord's work. Wow, you moved to California to get closer to my content. That's what I heard. Amazing. Okay, a bunch of comments from people saying I look like crap. Thank you so much. GJ says, I've heard speculation, I think from Dave too, that Michelle will be getting tons of offers for sports modeling, Lululemon, etc. I'll buy whatever Lululemon she's modeling. I actually haven't really discussed any specific offers she's going to get. All I know is she's tall, beautiful, and super brand friendly. A lot of brands will pay more money to advertise with someone who's on the clean side, just because that's where there's more money to be made. If, no offense to someone like Demi, but she swears and this and that, a lot of times if sponsors or if companies want like a real spokesperson, they want someone who's got, just credible across different categories. So, brand friendly is a good way to put it. Welcome back to my channel, Dave Neal, brand friendly, even if I don't look it. I look like a newscaster that got fired, but he's still trying to do his job from home. That's what I
Oh my God.
look like. That's what I look like. If you aren't familiar with my new sound here,
God.
I will just play you the first clip of what this is from. This was from our phone call we got earlier.
Oh my God. I'm in the middle of watching this. It's 9:25. in New York right now. I am watching this and oh my God, Jamie, what to do with you? Oh, so insufferable. Why does the dude always have to raise his eyebrows? Like he's like, okay, girl, now this is when you're gonna kiss me. Like, oh my God. And he's like, what? Oh, I gotta wait for 6 weeks. The fact that she didn't choose me right then and there and pull a Claire. Like, oh my God. Like that turns me off. Oh my God. Get a life, Jamie. Get a life. What the hell is your problem? I clearly have no words. This whole time he's like, oh my God. This whole time, Jamie's just like, oh, like, I can't compete with nobody. It's my first one-on-one. It's my first group date. I'm like, bro, who says you're going to get another group date? Like, chill out. I hate that kid. I hate that kid with burning passion. Stop raising your eyebrows. You're like, come here, baby. Like, stop. It's so bad. I have a Jamie phobia. I need all Jamies away from me right now, and by that I mean I need this Jamie away from me right now. I cannot stand it. The fact that I called right now, I just, oh my God. That's all I have to say. This is the title of the voicemail. Oh my God. Bye, Dave. I'll see if I can watch the live stream and then see what you have to say about Jamie. Bye. Oh my God.
All right, there you have it. I don't even know who that call was. Was that Avery? I'm not sure. They don't put the voice on there. But anyway, not a fan right there. Not a fan of Jamie. Speaking of fans, one of my favorite people sent me a package. If you weren't here for the earlier stream, here's the package. Hip, hip, hooray to 50K. And of course, there's a note there and a package inside this. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow up your email address. Sent in. This is internationally sent in. I'm not going to open this till we hit 50K. So here's your motivation to get on top of it and get that subscriber count up. You know, we had a lot of controversy today. Probably my most disliked video I've made in Bachelor Nation today. But I got a ton of new subscribers. So we'll have to see how many people we lost from this video. I'm going to make an updated video tomorrow because it's one thing for me to ruffle feathers, but it's another when I don't feel like my thesis was properly executed. So I want to say things again with more clarity towards how I actually feel. That's not an apology. That's just me saying, you know what? For the benefit of what I do and what people do as listeners, because again, I got a lot of subscribers out of it. People like it when I roast people, but I want to be very fair and very specific about the comments that I make, especially when I'm, but you know, because some people were thinking I was blanketly saying all Christians stink, and I have a ton of family that are Christians, so I have to be careful. But also maybe being someone raised Christian Catholic and still identify as a person of my own sort of faith in a very unique way, I maybe feel easier to criticize because it's like I could criticize a fraternity because I was in one. You know what I mean? Like it's almost easier because you know the ins and outs. And so anyway, so I'm going to make that video tomorrow. Carly said, what video? What was it? Wait, what was the disliked video? So I'll show you in a second. I'm not going to play the video, but I'll pull it up in a second here. It's a very well-performing video, but, you know, I had people say they're going to unsubscribe from me, and, you know, I'm getting a call from Sophia here. Let's see if we can play this. Hold on a second. Hold on, you're not linked in. Hold on, let me get the Bluetooth set up here. Got to make sure I'm connected. Check. Let's see. Can't hear you yet. We're got an internet. I wasn't set up for my Bluetooth, so hold on. Connection unsuccessful. How is it unsuccessful? All right. Hold on. I've got a glitchy system. All right. I'll talk to you right here while I try to set it up. We've got Sophia from Montreal checking in. How are you?
I'm good. I just, like, on this whole subject, like, I just want to make something clear because I talked to you earlier. I did kind of get upset for people on the other video that you posted, and I know that you want to like make that clear, but I wanted to specify exactly what it was. So I went back to go see what it was that kind of got me mad.
Do you have time codes or just a general?
What?
Do you have...
I have the actual statements, and then I just have the in general overall what it was, because I had to like look back and think about it. So I have like, so I was like going, what was it that really bothered me? And it wasn't about what you were saying as far as your views on purity culture. I think it was more about the way that you like put out those views. It's more about how on certain subjects you're going to show grace and you're going to be fine with it and you're going to be like totally unbiased, and then in other ways you're going to like really go hard on people, and it becomes less of a joke and more of a ridiculing of a certain type of person, and it feels more like an attack. And I know that you don't mean it like that, and so that's what kind of like gets to me. And so I don't know if you want to hear the 3 things that kind of like bugged me, or...
Yeah, sure. I'm still trying to get you connected to my Bluetooth here, but I think the audience can hear you.
Oh, can they hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when I like, that's the thing, is that you'll say things that are like somewhat like you'll contradict yourself in a sense that you'll be like, let's all be respectful, when you yourself may not realize how disrespectful that you're being, you know? And there's a bit of a hypocrisy there and an arrogance into the way that, you know, just a tone can say a lot, you know? And I that's kind of what bothers me on that front. Anyway, the first thing was, nobody wants to play the victims more than Christians. Like right there, you're starting things off, you know, in a way that, you know, like I know it wasn't meant in a bad way, but that's just like, let's just go out hitting big, you know, and it's not even really funny or true. Like, yes, but so many people want to be victims these days that I'm like, already I was like, ooh, okay, we're going in hard, you know?
I thought you were the one, though, who always said you thought I got too soft. That's why it was so funny to hear your criticism, because you always say I get too soft with PC culture.
100%. Yeah, I know. And there's a difference between PC culture and flat out ridiculing people. And there's a difference between like saying you have a different opinion and you don't agree with other people. And just like, I don't know, there's certain things that I just like I said, that statement was not that bad. It was just like going in and you're like, let's.
You know, like it already kind of like caught me off guard that you would say something like that. So I was like, okay. And I listened throughout the whole thing, and it wasn't that bad. Like even that one's like whatever. And then here's the other one that got me mad is, where is it? You have a commentator that I much appreciate, just because she makes me laugh, because she points out your hypocrisy sometimes. Like she was the one who did that comment, Dave, I'm not here to talk trash about Christians, and then proceeds to talk trash about Christians, which I don't think it's in a mean way. I think she's just like, hey, calling you out, poking you, maybe take a look at yourself, you know, which I think we all need to do, you know?
Yeah, but so isn't it, how is, you know, to make, like, it's almost like Americans, we're the worst. You know, Christianity makes up a large... No, but my point is that Christianity makes up such a large percentage of our country that, again, I didn't mean to insult all Christians. But at this... No, but let me finish. No, it's okay. But at the same time, I make videos, and again, I don't mean this to say this as like a get myself out of jail free card, but I go on rants with kind of my ideas, and sometimes I miss the mark, but sometimes I assume the audience like knows what I'm talking about. And this happens with stand-up too, where like if you don't have a solid premise, the punchline doesn't work because the audience doesn't exactly know where you were. That's why I want to remake the video to be like, look, I don't think that all Christians play the victims, but I do believe that there is like a thing happening where Christians are made to believe through conservative media that they're like having Christmas taken away from them, and that people are coming for their jobs. It's like become this political thing where Christians have kind of fallen into the conservative side, which makes no sense because I know plenty of left-leaning Christians, you know? So that was my whole point. But obviously, I have to listen to the video too because I want to make sure I correct, because I want my criticisms haven't changed. I just want to isolate them specifically to the bad parts of Christianity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, it's not really about the point of view or you lashing out on purity culture. It's the way that you put things. You had said that you called the church the home of corruption, which even if saying that as a joke is like a step too far. It's like, that's no longer funny. That's an attack, you know? And so it's like, I'm not religious. I'm like so far from religious that like but I can feel for them. And I'm like, wow, if I felt in any way like that, I would be like, wow, why would Dave attack me like that? Especially when I know that you're not like that and you don't mean it in that way, you know?
Well, I look at it this way, like raised Catholic, right? If people want to talk about the pedophile ring in the Catholic Church, I have to, and by the way, welcome to being demonetized now, but I have to go, yeah, you're right. That's a huge problem. The church hid a pedophile ring 100%. Or you want to talk about like the Joel Osteens or, you know, these problems exist in corruption
in a lot of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't talk about it all. I'm like, everywhere. But I'm, you know, if I'm going to make a video about Madison Pruitt and how she's going to lean on her faith to sell books, that's just like how I believe.
But Dave, listen, you're leaning on what you're doing to sell what you want, and maybe to her, it's like if to her being purity. Forget the word purity. Let's replace that word with like abstaining from sex. Like, let's just say she chose to not do that. And she feels proud about this and feels empowered by this and chooses to do so. And maybe thinks it's a good idea. I don't think that this is like some weird way to shame people for having sex. Like, yes, religion and some people in that way can put it forth like that. But I think it's kind of a bit wrong to be like, well, she's not allowed to sell a book about that, or she's not allowed to push, because she probably thinks that she's helping out a lot of women, because women, and I'll tell you this from my point of view, okay, is that like women are more pushed to be sexualized than we are not to be. So it's like, I have like, the other point that like made me more angry more than anything else is the comment where you said saving marriage was only valid before the age of 15, and it's in such a joking sense, and this coming from a man, like that kind of went like, ooh, no, honey. Like, you don't know what, like at a certain point, not to be mean, it's just like, no, we don't want to hear that from a man. Like women will understand each other, and there are things on both sides, you know? So it's as much as purity culture can be toxic, sexualizing or over-sexualizing women can be toxic.
Yeah, but but isn't purity culture over-sexualizing women by making 12-year-olds sign a purity pledge that they're not going to have sex when they're not even thinking about it? So like, I get your point. My point with like marriage was something that happened much younger. It was literally hundreds of years ago. You got married at a younger age, you're dead at 28. You know what I mean? Like these archaic principles go back so many years that I don't think that they were thinking about like waiting. Like now, you know, you got boss babes waiting till their 30s to get married. Mine, you know what I mean? My lady, totally fine. People are spending more time figuring themselves out. They don't have to get married and wed and have babies at a younger age if they don't want to.
It's not a matter of when you get married or whether you get married at all. Like me and my boyfriend never plan on getting married. We've been together 15 years. But the thing is, that's still the premise to the joke, which I said just like as an off the cuff joke. But that like my premise still makes sense. Like, hey, you know, it's almost like, you know, when Survivor was giving away $1 million to the winner, that was a lot more money 20 years ago. It's like, all right, $1 million. Like, okay, what's that going to get me? A loft in, you know, a Tribeca? No. So like, I get it. But again, I guess it would be hard for someone to flip between where I'm joking and where I'm not, because I'm kind of cutting. But at the same time, the problem with saying proudly, I'm waiting till marriage is, it's not that it's a problem that she's waiting. It's that with her platform, all the people look up to that as this lofty goal. And that's just going to set people up for shame by their parents and by all these other people, that like this weird Christian idea that we need to care what people do with their bodies. It just becomes like,
you know, that's the purity culture is just creepy like that.
I know, but I think it's also like, I feel like there's a hypocrisy there again, because you pushing these ideologies is just the same as them pushing those religious views.
What ideology
am
I pushing?
Well, you're pushing the fact that this is like that Christianity is toxic, and it's not like, and this like connecting purity culture to religion is accurate. But when you're using statements like calling the church a place of corruption, where these people, they don't mean to be mean, and they don't like, they try to be good people overall. And I'm not even religious, but I could feel for that. And, you know, like, I think that as long as everyone's trying to be their best self, that's the way to go. And I know that you feel that same way too. So it's like, I just don't want people to get the wrong idea when they're listening to you, because I know that you're coming from a good place, but at the same time, these are not issues that are black and white. They're not clear. These are complex issues. These are things that like are too complex for me or you to be debating. You know, like we can put our views on it, and I'll say my opinion on it, and you'll say yours. And I don't lean either way, because I see both sides of this. So I'm like, well, that's a very complex issue, because you're very right. When it comes to purity cultures, there is a lot of toxic things in there. But there's also a lot of toxic things in sexualizing women at a young age, shaming women for holding on to their modesty. Like, you know, so it's like this, it's, you know, it goes both ways. And so that's what you know.
No, I totally agree that it goes both ways, but it's kind of like the whataboutism, where you go, well, women are shamed this way, or women are, you know, there's so many different issues to pull apart. But the connective tissue here is that Madison sort of is like holier than thou on the show, and then, you know, they receive these speaking engagements. The religious market is huge. There's so much money. They don't pay taxes. There's so much money within these big churches to get people to speak about this, and then they're getting applause breaks because why? They decided they were going to wait till they give themselves up. Fine, absolutely. But like for every person that'll write in and say, hey, Dave, I waited till marriage. I was perfectly fine. You have someone like Megan who just said that she was told to put another shirt on under her shirt because she was showing too much cleavage, and she was 11, and these are children. Yeah. So my issue with this is I go on like a case-by-case basis based on what we're talking about. And again,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, it is anecdotal. It is like, to the individual, because I think that people will interpret religion in different ways. You know, how some people will see it in one way and other people will go to an extreme, you know? And so it's about letting everyone respect each other and respect what they feel in their bodies. Now, if your religion speaks against that, maybe that's not the right religion for you. But I don't think that you or anyone else should be telling people what they believe, other than to be true to what they feel and true to what makes them comfortable, and not be like, you know, how dare they shame these women who should be proud of having sex with so many guys. Like, no, that's not the right angle either. Like, let's not all walk around with a vibrator like Katie did. There's a difference between being sex positive and being okay with your sexuality and open about it. And there's a difference between encouraging sexuality.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, sort of. But Katie, I disagree with your point, because I think with Katie, it's about normalizing things. It's not about walking around with a vibrator so you can whack off at a Starbucks. It's about saying, hey, here it is. I got the maraca, you know, whatever. And I'm not afraid to admit it.
She jokes about using it on a Zoom cam. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but that's actually, I actually defend that premise. I think that's a strong premise. In her stand-up, she essentially said how now that she works from home, I mean, maybe the premise is hack, but either way, that's, you can't take what someone says as a stand-up joke that's done on stage.
No, of course not. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but I get your points that there could be something about, like, you know, that there's probably a delicate balance between not over-sexualizing someone at a young age, but also not, teaching them to value their body. Absolutely. But for whatever reason, people feel like those that are like maybe coming at this from a feminist point of view, it's like if you take it like a pro-life, pro-choice, people don't want to have abortions. They just want the right to control what they do with their body. Whereas pro-life people think that pro-choice people just want to whack babies off left and right. It's very complicated.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was saying. That's a very like a super complicated issue, because I see both sides of that spectrum. Like, yes, people should have the right to choose on abortion, but then at the same point, when you're having like late term and like there's some things in there that you're just like, oof, like maybe we should think about it twice. And I get it from both points of view. And like I said, these are complex issues. These are like very individualized. They are very, you're not going to tell a woman that's been raped by someone that she has to keep that child, So it's like I said, these are super complex issues. So it's like when it's already a touchy subject, you just have to watch on how you approach it. So I didn't want to like attack you on your views on purity culture. I was just like, maybe you gotta watch the way you put things so that you're not alienating a part of your audience or people are taking it as an attack, because I know that you're not.
When you sent me the text, I was like, I was kind of surprised because I was like, who thinks I'm alienating people? But then again, because I'm so close with Christianity, someone says, would you talk about another religion like this? God, no. I'm not going to, could you find ways to criticize other religions? Absolutely, of course. Although the Mormons and Latter-day Saints, there are other churches that I could rip apart because I know a lot about the abuses within these churches. And, I've got people in my life that think maybe I'm not doing the Lord's work because I'm not going to church. And I'm like, do you know how many people I reach out to and touch every week? And I don't mean that as like a humble brag. We've got 10 plus million watch minutes a month. Some of it's fun, some of it's gossipy, but a lot of it is like high energy, trying to get people to lead a life that's authentic and high vibrancy and this and that. So when I see something like purity culture that's so strong, and again, not in my part of the world, not in New England, we've got our own issues, but this is like a Southern, Midwestern. I didn't have Bible camps like that. I didn't have purity pledges, purity balls where you take a wedding photo with your father. I mean, this is ludicrous. In other countries, hear about this and they go, what's going on in the United States? We are the most conservative in our values. I'm not saying this politically. We are the most conservative first world country. We were founded in this puritanical way, and it's so many people have to destigmatize and deburden themselves from the traumatic things they were taught as children. And it's so easy to control people with fear, and religion will use that. Brimstone and fire. Not every religion. The good pastors and good priests will promote people through positivity, but the ones that do it the old school way say you will burn in hell for your sins, which is homophobia, which is sex before marriage or sex out of wedlock or all these different things. And it's like, that's just patently not true. Not in my opinion.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. There are very toxic things in religion, but there are also very good moral things in religion. And so it's like, I'm, like I said, I'm far from religious, and I am the first one to be like, y'all shouldn't cry and grow some thick skin. Like, so that's why I'm like, it's a thing where you're just like, okay, it's fine to put out your point of view, and you shouldn't like be super PC about it because that's not going to help either. But I think there's a difference between being super PC and just having a little bit of respect.
Yeah. And I think like I said, I don't know if it was before you got on the phone, but as a comic, if your punchline doesn't hit, sometimes, you'll tell a joke over and over and then it becomes less funny and you'll have to be like, why is the joke not landing as much? And sometimes the truth is that you got lazy in telling the premise. You got lazy in setting it all up. And sometimes in my videos, like probably today, I'll have to rewatch it. But sometimes I just like forget that I have to be like, hey guys,
let's go straight to the point.
Sorry.
Hold
on. Sorry about that. Hold on. Okay. I just had hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you. I lost you on my ears for a second. But anyway, I'm clicking over to show that I have 500 upvotes, 150 downvotes. So it's not the end of the world. And I am not, my barometer is not how many downvotes I get, but I am willing to say, all right, could I have set up this premise better, saying I'm pro-religion and I'm pro what communities can do that are good, but I also feel like if we're going to improve not just religion, but anything political or social in our country, we need to be able to address the negative and not patently just like say, oh, he's not one of us. He's this anti-guy. I mean, someone messaged me today saying I have to be very careful because I'm going to turn people away from the church. And it's like, I shouldn't have to worry. I shouldn't have to worry if purity culture turns people away from the church, but is that really my doing? So I don't know, but I do get what you're saying.
That's not the issue. Like I said, that's not the issue to me. Is like, because there are things to point out that, like I said before, that are extremely toxic. You are right on many fronts of that. It's just the way you say things, and it's just the way you use tone. And when you're talking to people in a condescending way, then it's like, it takes away from what you're saying. And if like people feel attacked, when I know personally that a lot of Christians are not like that, and I know that there are both on both sides. It's not good.
Yeah, but and I get what you're saying. So not to sound redundant, but I understand what you're saying. I think though the triggerness happens when people think that, like I'm talking about structural issues with higher ups. I'm not necessarily talking about people that get down on their knees and, donate a few bucks and this and that. Although I will say there's plenty of people, and I know this, just anecdotally, but I know plenty of people that think they show up to a 45-minute service once a week and then they can be a piece of shit human the rest of the week. And I think for a lot of people, they think that punching the ticket.
That's why I'm not religious. There's a lot of things. Yeah.
But I understand your point.
Yeah,
and someone said we have Feisty Dave on the line now, so you got me all feisty. But it's fascinating.
No.
I'm going to talk about it again tomorrow because it not only drives a lot of traffic on the channel, it's interesting stuff to talk about. Sure. And again, I'll make sure, because someone wrote in. I'll tell you what someone said. They wrote in and they were like, "Hey man, because some people go unsubscribing," and I go, "Bye bye." But then when people write in going, "Hey, I'm actually a fan," and they actually explain what they were offended by, like that means a lot to me. Like someone waited till they were 27 when they got married to lose their virginity, and they thought that I was condescending towards the people that decide to wait. And they mentioned that I sounded like the same people that bullied her in high school when they knew she was a virgin. And that really hit me the wrong way. Not what she said, but the idea that I'm triggering someone. But then I responded, like, oh my gosh, I am not trying to make people get triggered. I'm in all that, but I'm looking at it from somebody on the other side who didn't live a necessarily perfect lifestyle, like my best friend who was in the Mormon church till his family kicked him out of it at 16 because he wanted to smoke weed and have sex. And it's like, that's not a crime either. But so I come from it from people that, like, from my podcast, the SAP Sex Actually podcast, people going, "Oh, I can't do your podcast. My church," like people that would snub their nose on me, who's just trying to have a healthy conversation about people's sex in a relationship. And I think, and so I've been on the side where people have looked down on my path like I'm some sort of vagrant who's having these conversations, like it's smut, including my mom. I mean, my mom, a lot of people, I always say positive things about her because I think she's a great woman who's tried her best, but she's also comes from a purity culture of her own. And she wrote me a handwritten letter, like disappointed in the content I talk about. And I was like, fuck you for thinking, you don't even watch my shit. You don't even watch my shit. And you think you know what I'm doing here. And I'm like, and this is before we had the platform now where it's like, we got 10 million people. Like, this is a rock audience. We got a rock show audience here of people that don't always agree with me, but listen to what I'm saying, and I listen to what they're saying, which I think is very important. You know, that like the phone calls we take and this and that. It's like, this isn't like a one. So whenever someone thinks I'm just preaching stuff, it's like, no, I'm listening to you guys. I spend a lot of time reading comments, you know, trying to hear what people are thinking. And anyway, so I can hear the difference between your valid criticisms versus someone who's like, no, you know, because that's like.
Well, it's also like, I'm going to tell you this, like from like my point of view too, because I was one of those people who was on the opposite side of that spectrum. Okay, I've been on the other side, and I grew up in a family that was religious except for me. Like my mother let us choose religion, and I chose not to choose because I don't like any of them. And then after she passed away, I moved out with my friend when I was 18 years old, and he happened to be a male. And my dad assumed that this was the most shameful thing. How dare I, a woman, move in with a man? I must be a whore or something. So therefore, he proceeded to tell my whole family that I was dating this guy, which I wasn't. He was just my best friend. Like, there was nothing sexual in that relationship. We were just buddies. And so I understand that, but I also understand the toxic views of pushing sexuality on women, because I also went through a phase later in life where I said, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do what I want, and I don't care about men, and I'm going to take it back. And in the end, when you look at it, women don't view sex like men do. And it can be something that you can feel comfortable with, and women should not be shamed for like doing what they please. But the reality of it is that most women, I'm not saying all, but a lot of women will sleep with men and then regret it. And this goes for men too. There are a lot of men that will have one night stands and then, you know, not feel great about it after. Sure, sometimes you're going to feel great. You had a good time, you know, but I mean, like, there's a certain,
God.
you know, yeah, you know, there's a little bit of a balance there. So I think that these are not easy issues to cover. You know, these are not, it's not a, you know, it's not something so easy that we can just say purity culture is wrong or let's push sexuality. No, both sides of the spectrum have some valid things. Modesty is maybe something to consider in a certain way. And also, you know, maybe we should also be more open about our sexuality. There's a balance there, and it's to the individual and how they are comfortable and whatever works for them.
Agreed.
Like, I don't think that that's wrong or crazy to say. Like, I don't think that what I'm saying is being PC to tell people to do whatever makes them feel comfortable.
Right. And I'll just say that to end this, because I got to go. I'm not nothing on you, because I'm going to make you.
I just had to call you to clarify our conversation earlier, because I'm like, I don't want him to think that I was offended, because I was personally not offended by it and I did not care. I just didn't want people to see it in the wrong way. And like I said, go back. And it's not many things that you said, but one thing will turn people's view entirely on everything else that you said. Because when I went back, I was like, oh, you know, most of what he said wasn't that bad.
You know, and I'll listen to it. But isn't that annoying, though, when someone's like, oh, this changed my opinion? It's like, what? The 100 hours of content a week I give you, and then one thing changes your, like, where's the good faith? Like, someone in the Facebook community left after a fight with someone else. It had nothing to do with me. And then all their comments got deleted, and then someone saw my comments and they got mad at me. They're like, I'm gonna have to unfollow you, Dave. I feel like I thought one thing of you, but now I was like, listen, half the comments are deleted. You don't even know what you're talking about. She was like, oh, sorry, my fault. And it's like, how quickly are people to judge like good and evil? Like where's the equity in what we're having? But I guess, you know, again, I'll let you go in a second. I know the comments are like, go home, Dave. But
everyone's going crazy now. Go figure when I call controversy comes in. Yeah.
Listen, and again, I appreciate your phone call, and everyone in the comment section, please appreciate that. So that I respect these different of opinions, because you see me, and it's not. Listen, I didn't watch the video I made. I just kind of black out and talk. You know what I mean? So it doesn't always go great. But I'll say this: several different people said, you know what? Go back to just being a Bachelor channel. That's what we're here for. And that to me is like Dance Monkey. And I'm like, irate. I will talk about purity culture for the rest of my life just to piss those two people off. Like this is not a Bachelor channel. This is a guy who will pick apart topics through that lens because that's what gets the audience to be a part of it. That's the common denominator. Sure, we do fun things in Bachelor Nation. I'm going to have videos about Dale's toes till the cows come home. But like, how dare someone say, like, it's like, they're not like paying my rent. They're watching a free video with a couple ads in it. And that was infuriating when that happens. Infuriating. But that's rare. Most people get it. Again, for everyone in the comment section, most people understand. Like, most people are so chill. But I do understand if someone's watching me for the first time, you know, maybe I need to be careful when I come across as like angry. But in the end, it's altruistic. I'm just sick and tired of people talking about how messed up they were because essentially older men told them what to do with their body. That's basically what it is. And in like physical harm, a black eye, that's horrible. Physical abuse, it's horrible. But some of the mental and emotional trauma, even like, you know, a lot of this hits home because of Tasha. She grew up in the Midwest where they were, you know, taught to do this and go to these purity things and this and that. So she talks to me about it and it's heartbreaking because I go, oh, you're still overcoming not knowing if you could wear a belly shirt. You know what I mean? You're still overcoming who you are as an adult in your 30s. And so many people
in the 90s, if you wore a belly shirt, you were automatically a slut. And I see these kids today and I'm so jealous. I'm like, man, I wish I could have rocked that belly shirt, you know, and I do, you know, sometimes, but it's like I said, there are some great things about having women be confident about their sexuality. And there are things like I said, it's just about putting things in a respectful way. That's all I wanted to tell you, Dave. It's just, let's try not to shame people on either side and just put our points forward. And I think we've done that. And I think that as long as we do that in a respectful way, we're going to come to at least a closer understanding of how to make things work in this world, you know, because I don't want to, I hate fucking PC culture. You know this. I will attack it like crazy. I'm completely on the other end. I'm like, no, I'm going to watch Chappelle and I'm going to watch The Daily Wire and I have nothing, you know, like it doesn't like this. I hate to be that person to call you and be like, Dave, can we show a little respect? But the only reason I'm doing that is because I believe it's gone a little bit too far. And also because I don't want people to see something wrong in what you're saying, because I know that you're not attacking the Christians, you know?
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but also in just inside baseball, some of the worst advice, and again, I think what you're saying is holds a lot of weight, but some of the worst comedic advice I get is from friends who don't want to see me fail on stage. And again, this is not necessarily related, but so I have to be careful to speak to my true beacon and call out what I want to call out, but also I don't feel the need to respect purity culture, but I do want to respect the people that choose a faith-based lifestyle. So I'll make sure to make, and again, it's when I don't make that clear, it can be tough because if I don't have a clear thesis and a clear point, then it's all like, what are we even arguing? So watch my video tomorrow and let me know what you think afterwards, okay? But I'm going to get it right this time. And it's not like I'm going to necessarily be kind to Madison. And some people have said, hey, Dave, you don't know her sort of, you know, motivations. And that's true, too. I don't know her motivations. That's why I want to be careful to spin the conversation away from Madison and more into purity culture in general, because I do know the purity culture's motivations, and I do know how harmful that can be. And you can have Christianity and other religion and take out the toxicity. But anyway, you're great. Thank you so much for calling in. All right.
Have a good night, Dave. Get some sleep.
Take
Sorry
care.
if this went on too long. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh my God.
All right, there it is. Just got some text. Thank you, Franny, for the nice message. Listen, we love Sophia, and she lives in Montreal. She's Canadian, so different sort of, slightly different, in just different ways of viewpoints. But it's nice to talk to someone who might be anti one thing, pro something else, and it's good. It's good. It's a safe place to have these conversations, and it takes a lot of guts for someone to have those conversations. That might be a little different. That might say something like, don't shame someone for losing their virginity, but don't reward someone for being overly, disrespectful of their body. I don't know, guys. Good conversation, folks. I've actually got like a bruise on my hand from being at my desk so long today. So I weighed myself 1.5 days into my 21-day diet. I'm down 4 pounds, guys. 4 pounds.
Oh my God.
But the deal is, it's probably mainly like, life just, at a good, who knows? But the point is, I'm, not exactly too worried about the weight, but I will be letting you guys know on this 21-day challenge as I eat nothing but meats and fresh veggies and getting out sugar and carbs. That might be why I'm a little tired, but I think it's more the jet lag. It's really 3 hours east of here, so it's really 2 a.m. East Coast time. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I need a keyboard rest. The problem is everything's spread out so far away. I gotta like reach all the way over here to pull something. But yeah, I think in order to properly separate what Madison is doing from purity culture, it's just a jumping off point. But I do understand when I talk about these things that people that are like, and again, I got a lot of downvotes, but I also tagged Madison in the, when I used to make more political videos, if I tagged like MAGA, I was going to get so many downvotes. If I tagged Trump, I was going to get so many. Like, there's just certain things that people will come to like sort of hate watch or disagree watch with you. But I do want to try again to litigate my point to an audience that is more my people versus someone who's just coming and going. Because look, if someone's going to come and go and not change their opinion, that's just a waste of my time. But if someone's willing to be like, listen, I know you got it wrong, or I know you misrepresented what you were saying, Dave. I'll give it another shot. We'll talk about it again. We've experienced this through our conversations with Purity Culture with Colton Underwood and Mikey Planeta and many others. But for whatever reason, this one struck a chord, which, to be honest, is so funny to me because I didn't think twice of it at the time. I was like, this is the thing that people are pissed off about. I talk about some wild stuff. I was just surprised. Anyway, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. Sophia, I don't know what this means. I was in a way attacking Dave. Maybe you meant to say no way, because I didn't think you were attacking me. But I don't know what you're trying to say there. Quit attacking me, Sophia. Quit it. Megan says, I think we also need to point out it was evident in Peter's season that Maddie withheld her virginity from Peter until last minute. Yeah, that's something that people have talked about. It's so like long gone in my brain. But yeah, apparently people were saying, she waited till right before the fantasy suite. Whereas, it's hard to know because it's so edited. It's hard to know what's true and what's not. That's why like it's probably easier for me to just be like, to deal with the Madison Pruitt story on one hand and then talk about purity culture on a separate hand and be like, look, maybe she doesn't feel that way, but, to say that it's not problematic in some of these like mega churches, what's going on, it's something worth, it's worth auditing, isn't it? All right. I know I'm just rehashing a lot of points. Tina in Slovakia says, I get into a lot of political and religious debates and people never understand. So I always say, if I can change minds of maybe just one person, it's worth it. Yeah. And, for me, it's like, we've obviously got visions of grandeur to be bigger than just Bachelor. And that doesn't mean to not pay my respect to my audience, you guys. But I think the way for me to pay respect to you guys is to be authentic in the reason you wanted to be here in the first place, which is unfiltered sort of like, conversations about the social aspects of the show, which I talked to Sophia and a bunch of others about this, about starting a separate YouTube channel that doesn't operate in the confines of the Bachelor community, where I can do more entertainment news, where I can have conversations about who's getting engaged to so-and-so, where it can be lighthearted, but also political. It can be lighthearted, but also social. That's something that, will be in the works, but I'm trying to jam my way up until the ceiling of Bachelor Nation and kind of, win over as many people as I can here first. You're all great. Shout out to Susan and Sarah and everyone else that's done a great job. All the trusty moderators for just keeping the chat room great. And I do appreciate all of you guys. And I mean, like, yeah, I got positive messages today from pastors saying, "Preach, Dave, preach." So I guess it's almost like it was like, if that was a stand-up set, maybe it was a good one. Like, I didn't bomb, but I didn't win everyone over. And Patrice O'Neill says, you're not doing stand-up right unless you're walking half the room. Walking meaning making them leave. I don't want to walk half of you, but I do want to like, not necessarily shock to be offensive, but I want to like breathe some life into some of our ideologies and talk about things that we just like, like I get at Thanksgiving dinner, you don't want to talk politics and religion with your families, but some of these issues, man, they're affecting us out there, and they're reaching our doorsteps. And I never thought that anything I do would be considered hard hitting. Like Layla says, we're here for both the light, fun, and heavy, serious stuff. Megan says, sleep in tomorrow. We'll be here no matter what. No, I'm going to wake up at 6:30. I'm going to get off with you guys, and then I'm going to record my recap. It's going to be fire. I feel the energy to do my recap, and then I'm going to call it a night. So anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go straight to the outro music here so I can get out of here. But thank you guys so much for all of your support. I appreciate it. And you'll see another video tomorrow somewhere during the day commenting, and again, not an apology, but we're just going to get into the specifics. So, what do they say though? Your word, what's this whole saying about be perfect with your word? It's one of the 4 agreements. Anyway, I'm working on it. Thank you guys so much. You're all amazing. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.